Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this Wednesday, and welcome to this educational presentation. Now, today I want to talk to you about how to never miss a big move again. I would venture to say that most of our new and prospective students come to specialist trading and pro trader strategies saying, I always seem to miss these big moves. I look back and I see that, wow, that stock or that future, that currency pair just took off. And even I may have been watching it for a while, but I forgot about it. And then it just took off without me. How can I at least try and get in sync to never miss a big move again? Well, I'm going to show you how simple it is using one of our most popular tools at specialist trading. Let's take a look at this example right here. As we look at this chart here, which is fairly recent in Costco, this is just going back about 3 weeks ago. We see here that it doesn't look as if anything's happening, right? Just looking at 4 bars, there's no way you can tell what this market's going to do, right? Well, not really, because with the indicator that I'll be talking about today, it actually would have told you right here on this bar that there was a high probability that a big move was about to happen. So if you had this indicator, like a lot of our students do, you could have chosen to buy at the close of that bar there and potentially captured upwards of 120 points in just 2 weeks. Now, this just happened just about 3 weeks ago. So this is going to be the subject of today's educational presentation, how to never miss a big move again. Now, this is not some convoluted indicator that you have to go through with a spreadsheet every night and calculate. No, it's probably one of our most simplest tools that you'll only find at Pro Trader Strategies on the PTS Primo charting platform. This is the educational platform I developed and designed with Pro Trader Strategies that actually helps you with one click catch these big moves. So welcome to this educational presentation. My name is Steven Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. If you're new to my webinars, we give free webinars every Wednesday, and we're all about educating students around the world, because if there's one thing I've learned in my nearly 5 decades of trading, it's that the reason why most traders fail is not because they don't have a big enough account or because they don't have enough experience. It's because they're taking themselves out of the game. They rely on someone or something else to tell them what to buy, what to sell. I mean, think of it. How do you make your own trading decisions? Do you have some system that automatically spits them out for you? Do you wait for the earnings to come out to tell you whether it's okay to buy or sell a certain issue? Do you listen to some guy in a chat room or on TV tell you that you should be buying crypto or you should be selling the British pound? You see, this is the way most of us are trained to trade, myself included. When I first started trading some 48 years ago on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange, I was doing the exact same thing. I had roughly about 10 or 11 subscriptions to so-called trading gurus. We didn't have the internet then, but we had newsletters and subscriptions. I had about 50 indicators plotted on my screen, and I was waiting with bated breath for every announcement to come out. Economic numbers, jobless claims, earnings. I was doing everything that everyone still does to these days, and I still couldn't make a dime. My mentors taught me to really, what they called, strip away this useless noise and just focus on the chart in front of you. Once I started really simplifying my trading, that's when I started to become consistent. And that's what's been the cornerstone to holding me as a consistent trader for the last nearly 5 decades. So this is what we do at Specialist Trading. We are an educational company where we want to put the power back in your hands with high-level, consistent methods and techniques so that you never have to rely on an outside source telling you what to buy or sell, myself included. You can just trade what you feel you should be doing, okay? Now, you'll see that in today's educational class, but before we begin, we're required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this very powerful technique and indicator, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, if you haven't done so already, please feel free to follow us on X, or you can subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Lots of ways to get free education, either by subscribing or by following us on X. There's our handle right there, at SPCLSTTRADG. Okay, now remember, a good mentor does not force feed you signals. All right. If you've paid $10,000 for that system that automatically tells you what to buy or sell on a nightly basis, and you have no idea what it's based off of, once again, you are taking yourself out of the game. If you are waiting for the earnings to come out, if some guy on TV said that you should buy this or sell this, waiting for the economic report to come out, you're relying on an outside source telling you what to buy or sell. A good mentor doesn't do that. He actually teaches you and provides you with the tools and tips and techniques so that you can make your own trading decision. So this is my goal as specialist trading, not to trade for you, but to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. And you'll see that in attention to detail today in today's educational class. Okay, so let's begin. And remember, as I stated, when I first started trading 48 years ago, I struggled tremendously. Even though I was on the trading floor, I had a very difficult time. I was doing the same thing that most of you have been taught some 48 years later, to look at earnings, to listen to some trading gurus on TV or online, or to have tons of indicators plotted on your screen. And guess what? It didn't work back then. So I don't really believe it's about to start miraculously working now. Here's what my mentors told me when they saw how much I was struggling. This is today's theme, by the way, as well. The secret to catching a big move really lies in a three-step process. So this is the process I want to share with you today in order to catch these real strong moves. All right, now the indicator we're going to be talking about and applying with these moves is the PTS XT. This is a very powerful and extremely popular tool at specialist trading. It's an indicator designed only to identify extreme moves in advance. Now, we have a lot of other indicators that are trend following indicators, but they'll look for the short-term trends. Others will look for the overall trends. This is only designed to look for those extreme moves, those extreme trends. So, in other words, you may be seeing a nice, slow, uptrending move, and the PTS-XT may not giving you a clear-cut definition that an extreme move is underway, because we want those almost straight up and almost straight down moves. That's where the low-hanging fruit really is for trading. So let's look at this older chart of FCX. Okay, this is a weekly chart. Obviously, this was an extreme upward move. How could the PTS-XT have helped us? Well, what it does is it applies a yellow block around the bars, and a yellow block equals an extreme uptrend. So as long as the indicator is telling you that you are in an extreme uptrend, the price will remain in this yellow block. Now, obviously, the first yellow block way back here was the one you could have purchased on well before it took off. Now, it does the same thing to the downside. As we look at this older chart of Algin, we see that it was going straight down, and all of a sudden it fell out of bed right here based on some news or some event. How could we have known? Maybe we were long this stock. How could we have known to exit at least to get out? Well, we apply the PTS-XT, and a red block around the bars equals an extreme downtrend. So obviously you would have known well in advance with the first couple of red blocks back here that we were going to be in an extreme downtrend. Now, one thing about the PTS-XT, it is not a predictive tool. It does not tell you how high or how low something will go. It also doesn't tell you for how long. It's only calculating on a tick-by-tick basis at the moment. So the indicator is designed, as you just saw, to identify these extreme moves in advance. Now, it's based on multiple proprietary indicators and their relationship to one another. Now, guess what? It's extremely, not say calculated, but extremely I'm searching for the word here. I guess difficult would be the easiest word to describe here, or complicated, because it's very comprehensive. You have to virtually know exactly what's going on with a number of multiple proprietary indicators and then calculate them by hand. So we've taken all the hard work out of it for you, and we've made it into a proprietary blocking tool, which it colors these blocks around the bars. And lastly, the PTS-XT is one of our most popular trading tools. Why? Because of its simplicity. There are literally dozens of ways in which to trade with it. I'm going to share with you what I think is the most powerful and the simplest way to apply in today's educational class. All right, so let's go through the three-step process. And remember, in order to apply this three-step process, you need to have the PTS Primo charting platform, because it's designed to help you capture these extreme moves in advance. All right, step one. Now, just before or after the close, conduct a daily PTS-XT scan. Now, someone would say, what do you mean before the close? Well, obviously, you may want to buy on the close of the bar. So let's say 5 minutes before the close. I'm on the West Coast, so I could say 5 minutes before 1. I would literally conduct a scan. The scan takes less than a minute. And I would have a list of what I want to be buying and selling. So that's what I need to know. If you're the type of person that is in front of your computer, then obviously you'd want to scan 5 or 10 minutes before the close. Things aren't going to change that much in the last 5 or so minutes. Now, if you're away from your computer, you're not able to watch the markets, and you come home from your job and want to see what the market's done, well, obviously then after the close, you'll conduct a daily PTS XT scan. Now, let me show you how simple this is. Here's the interface of our platform, okay? We haven't plotted anything. If you look in the green strategy tab, these were all our methods and techniques are formatted. All you would do is click on PTS XT Extreme Trend. Now, in the drop-down menu, go down to Scan, and you'll see this page appear. As you can see, it's titled PTS XT Extreme Trend. So this is the scanning model, all right? The scanning interface. What you want to do is click on Load Symbol List. Now, we provide you with symbol lists, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, the Dow Jones, also with cryptocurrency. Also, we provide you lists of currency pairs, or with commodities, or with futures. It's up to you. We have all the major market indices. You can even compute and put in your own list if you like, okay? But let's just say we wanted to look at the NASDAQ market. So we click that on under the list, and the NASDAQ Market 100 appears in this spreadsheet. This happens in about 2 seconds, okay? Now, what you want to do next is simply click on Scan. That's it. It is going to scan the entire NASDAQ 100 for signals and setups. As you can see, once it's completed in about less than 60 seconds, you'll see a series of green columns and red columns. Now, this leads us to step 2. We want to select stocks to trade that have a bar count of 1. So if we go back to that interface here, we see the far right column says bar count, and has numbers from 4, 3, 2, 1. What we want to do is only focus on the ones that have a bar count of 1. Why is that? Because those are the bars, or the stocks. If you look here, these are the corresponding stocks right here that have only been in that yellow extreme uptrend block for 1 bar. So obviously, those are the bars that, if the signal is going to be profitable, those are the ones you want to get in on, right? Because most likely they're at or near the bottom of a big up move. Now, conversely, if you're going short, you want to do the same thing. Here's a bar count of 1. Here's the corresponding stock. And if you're thinking about exiting, that's where you want to get out, right? Because it's been in a red block for only 1 bar. And if it's going to have an extreme move to the downside, you want to get out before it happens. And then this finally brings us to our third and most important step, which is simply to trade. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, this goes back to saying that we want to put the power back in your hands. We're not sitting here and saying this is a system you have to take every setup, because that's the only way we can produce facts and figures and numbers and any type of analysis. No, we're not an analytical company. We're only an educational company. We don't have statistics and stats that say, well, if you take these trades or this, how many days or so, this is the high consistency profitability rate you'll have. No, that's for you to find out. Our job as a mentor is to provide you with these things that have high levels of consistency, which you'll most likely find out in the first trade. But how you want to trade, exactly how long you want to stay in the trade, where you want to exit, where you want to place your stop, those are all your decisions. That's why we say trade. Now, we're not going to just leave you stranded there. We provide you with 6 or 7 different places to exit, 6 or 7 different ways to place your stop. We even have 7 different ways to enter. You can enter later on. You can enter if the trade has already been established, a ton of different ways to trade it. But we want, once again, to put the power in your hands. It's not a mentor's job to trade for you. It is your job to make your own trading decisions. I'm not trying to be, distant and arrogant and condescending. I'm trying to be a good mentor, because it's been my experience in nearly 5 decades. The only traders that are still trading that I've known from my days on the floor are the ones that make their own trading decisions. In fact, none of the traders that I knew that were relying on news or some guy to tell them what to buy or sell are still trading. They've all blown out their account. So obviously there is some consistency to being in charge of your own trading destiny. And that's what I'm trying to instill in all of you. As we look here at this older chart in Honeywell, okay, doesn't look like there's really not a lot of information there. We can go off just based off 3 bars, right? But if we went through the process, we clicked on the PTSXT and we scanned, we would have seen that this last bar here was actually in the yellow block for only 1 day. So that's a bar count of 1. So this is a high probability setup that's telling you that most likely this is going to go higher. It's up to you to decide. You could have said, okay, I'm going to buy this on the close or on the opening of the next day or different ways. Either way, you could have potentially captured 23 points in just 2 days without relying on any earnings or interest rate news, without relying on any economic news, without having to listen to some guy on TV or some guy in a chat room. You did it yourself by listening to the market with the PTSXT. Okay, so you know the process. This is the 3-step process for high probability setups that are designed to capture these big moves so you can never miss a big move again. Let's look at some more recent PTSXT examples so you can get a better idea. All right, looking at this chart here, we're only looking at 5 bars of BABA, okay? This is just going back just about 3 weeks ago. What's the stock going to do? Not really a lot of information, right? What if you say, well, gosh, Steve, that chat room I go to, the guy doesn't really have any idea. He says, well, this is kind of like something you should stay on the sidelines. It's not trending, so let's look at another issue. Well, that's not really true, because if we apply the PTSXT in the drop-down menu, if we would have scanned that night, we would have seen that it had a bar count of 1 in the yellow block. So that is not telling you that, well, there's no real direction. It's not really doing anything. It's screaming that there's a high probability a big move is about to take place. And it's trying to tell you in advance. It would have been wise to buy here, because look what happened coming into this month. Stock was up 38 points coming into last week, last Friday. Okay. How about this example here? All right. Obviously, ELF has been going down, all right, for the last 3 days. Someone may say, well, Steve, according to that $5,000 indicator I bought, this is tremendously oversold. So this is where I want to buy it, right? Because, hey, it's probably going to bounce. And that guy on TV said this is a great buy. You've got to, buy and hold this. All right. This is why most traders fail. You once again relying on someone to tell you how to trade. Let's see what the PTSXT did, which is based solely on the market, the thing you're trading. It's not based on something outside the market. It's based on market behavior. Click on Scan in the drop-down menu. Guess what? It has a bar count of 1 in the red block. That's telling you if this is going to be a successful move to the downside, a big move, this is the bar you want to get in on, right? So had you sold, let's say you were long the position and you didn't want to go short. You say, Steve, I don't like to go short. I don't feel comfortable, but I've been long this. I've got a little profit here. Maybe I should sell and take my profit. That would have been wise, because the stock fell 52 points coming into the first week of this month, February. All right, someone looking at PLTR, this is just about 2 weeks ago, could say, hey, Steve, there's resistance here. I bought that, or I took that class with support and resistance where all the big banks are placing their orders and they have all the big money, and they're saying to sell here. They're saying this is not going to get above. So I'm only going to buy if it closes above, okay? All right, so you say, all right, well, that's your way of trading, okay? And then look what happens. Are you going to buy there? Most likely, this is where you'd probably be thinking of taking a little profit or selling, right? So you say, wow, I missed it. I missed the big move. Gosh, I was waiting for this. And that resistance, supply and demand type of class I took, didn't give me an adequate time to get in here. Now it's too late. Well, I'll wait for it to come down. It probably is going to pull back, fill this gap, and I'll wait for it to come down. All right. So that's your plan of attack. And it never comes down. It keeps going higher and higher. Would you have gotten better results, more consistent with the PTSXT? Well, I think so, because if you had applied it, once again, the same thing, guess what? It was telling you almost a week in advance that a big move was about to happen. You don't have to wait for support and resistance to be broken. Trust me, I never teach about support and resistance because I found no consistency in it. This is a much better tool to use because it told me in advance that a big move was happening. I didn't have to wait for a breakout. So I could have purchased right here on the 29th of January and potentially taken advantage of a 40-point gain coming into last week. This was last Friday. Well, we kind of missed that scan right there. Let's go on to this one right here. Here's Tesla, okay? Now, this was just at the beginning of February, just about 2 weeks ago. We see here that someone could say, well, you know, Steve, once again, I'm a candlestick trader. I've taken all these courses in candlesticks. I've purchased all these programs, and this is the most bullish tool you can use. In fact, it's even titled that. It's called a bullish engulfing pattern. This almost all the time tells you that the market's going to go higher. So I'm going to buy Tesla. This was just a couple of weeks ago, okay? So let's say you decide to buy Tesla. How well did that work out, okay? Now listen, we have nothing against candlestick patterns. I even teach a course in candlesticks, but it's entirely different than the conventional or traditional way most people trade. This, in my opinion, is a recipe for disaster. I would never trade just based off a bullish engulfing pattern or any of the candle patterns. You have to alter and edit things. I would much rather apply the PTSXT to tell me what the market's going to do. Once again, all I have to do is click it on, and guess what? Where you thought there was a bullish engulfing pattern, there was actually the PTSXT signal screaming that this was going lower. So rather than buy, it would have been more conducive to being a profitable trader to sell. And you could have potentially captured 58 points in just a little over a week. Or, as we said earlier, if you were long, you could have exited Tesla and saved yourself a 58-point loss. All right, here's a buy signal in Costco. This was the chart we were initially looking at in the opening segment. Now, how did we decide to buy this? Well, once again, we would have missed this if we didn't. But how did we know? Well, we just simply apply the PTSXT, and this was bar number 1 in the count. This is the simplest way to trade, in my opinion, the most powerful way, because if it's going to be a profitable trade, you want to get in on the very first 1 or 2 bars. And usually, not promising, but normally they are at the very bottom of that big move. And you could have potentially captured 120 points in just 2 weeks. All right, let's look at SAM, S-A-M. Okay, how could we decide to sell here? We're only looking at 2 bars, okay? Well, that would have been a wise decision, but how did we know just to sell there? Well, the PTS told us, the PTSXT. This was the first bar in the red block. So this was telling us time to get out or time to go short, because this is going to go lower, most likely a big move, and it did. It went down 78 points. If you had been short or bought the puts, you could have potentially captured 78 points. All right, let's look at an entirely different market. Here's a 4-hour chart of the British pound. This was just going back not even a week ago on a 4-hour time frame. This is the same process, just because we look at different time frames, a different market, nothing changes. Here is the first bar in a yellow block. This was at 10 a.m. Pacific time on February 12th, I believe. Look what happened, 150 pips. That's roughly $1,500 in just a day or two, potentially per unit. Or we're looking at the daily chart of the euro yen. Here's bar number 1 in the red block, telling you you should sell. You could have scanned for that the night before, and 490 pips coming into last week. That's nearly $5,000 per unit. We can also apply this to intraday trading. Here's a 5-minute chart of Netflix, okay? Just a 5-minute chart if you like to intraday trade. This was just on last Friday on the 14th, so just like 3 or 4 days ago. Same thing applies. You could have scanned on an intraday basis and seen on this 5-minute time frame, we have the first bar in a yellow block. That's a buy signal. Could have purchased there in 9 points in less than 2 hours, okay? So it doesn't matter if you trade currency pairs, 4-hour charts, 5-minute charts of intraday trading stocks, or daily bars. It makes absolutely no difference. In fact, we can go out to a weekly chart here. Here's a weekly chart of EAT, okay? EAT. Now, once again, nothing, absolutely nothing happening here. Basically a sideways chart, right? This is a range market. This is the kind of stock we're taught that you should stay away from, because nothing's going to happen. You're most likely going to wait or get whipsawed, right? Well, that's not what the PTSXT is saying. All you have to do is apply it the same exact way, even though it's a weekly chart. Scan on a weekly basis, and you would have seen that even though we look as if we're in a range, the last 3 weeks have been colored yellow. So you could have purchased on this first week right here. Now, sure, nothing happened for the next 2 weeks, but ultimately it did kick in 128 points coming into January, this last month. Okay, let's review what we taught you today with this powerful tool. Remember, the secret to catching a big move lies in a 3-step process. Here's the process. You want to conduct a daily PTS scan, either 5 or 10 minutes before the close, so you can buy in the close, or come home, scan that night, and you can enter the next day or place a limit lower. We teach you all these different things in the course. So that's the first thing you want to do. And a scan roughly takes less than a minute or two, depending on what market. I can virtually, on my computer, scan the S&P 500 in less than a minute and a half, and get the signals for the next day. Select stocks with a bar count of 1. Why? Because these are the stocks that have only been in a yellow big up move block for 1 bar, 1 day, or in a red big down move block for 1 day. And that is where you want to get in, right? If it's going to take off to the upside or to the downside, you want to get in at the first bar. And then lastly, and most importantly, trade. Another way of saying this is that you are in charge. We provide you with all the different exits, all the stop placements, different ways to trade the PTSXT, money management. We teach you what makes you feel most comfortable. You decide from that kind of buffet table of different variables in which to trade it. No two traders should ever trade alike. That's why we don't have a signal service at Specialist Trading, because that would mean you'd all have to buy and sell at the same place. That is a tremendous disservice. No one should ever trade the same way another trader is trading. Why? Well, because maybe they have a bigger account size. Maybe they have a smaller account size. Maybe you don't like to hold positions overnight. Maybe they do. Maybe you aren't really a favorable person with risk. Maybe they don't care about risk. So no two traders should ever trade alike. You should set those parameters. You should get the very same signal, but then you set your own individual parameters, because when a trader feels comfortable, that is when you're consistent. And the only way to feel comfortable with what you're trading is to make your own trading decisions. Not some guy on TV, not someone in a chat room, not even me, some guy in a webinar. My job is to provide you with things that work. Your job is to trade them on your own. So ask yourself, do you think this indicator can help your trading for the remainder of 2025? We just started. Most likely, many of you are probably having difficulty already in the new year. We're not even 2 months into the new year. I truly believe this tool can turn your trading around. We have a great offer for all of you attending today. This is a great discounted special offer. We're going to offer you our Never Miss a Big Move special with the PTSXT Extreme Trend tool. It generates these high probability zones, these high probability blocks that you can apply to any market, any time frame, and any direction. In fact, a lot of our students like to trade with their current strategy. So in other words, rather than taking the first bar count, another way to trade this is to say, well, you know what? I'll only trade my signals that coincide with that block. So in other words, if I get a buy signal and there's a yellow block in the stock, well, then I'm going to take the trade. But if I get a buy signal on my strategy and the stock or the currency pair or the future is not in the yellow block, I won't take it. Why? Because remember, once again, those yellow blocks tell you when there's an extreme either up move or a red extreme down move. And that's where you want to be, regardless of how you decide to trade it. A number of our students have even built their own strategy using the PTS XD. It really gives you the confidence to pull the trigger. But remember, we talked about that 3-step process. You can only apply that on the PTS Primo charting platform. So because of that, we're going to give new customers a full year absolutely free, 12 months absolutely free. This is how you'll be able to apply that process. And this comes with a host of other things as well. Not only will you get one-click access to the PTSXT indicator, but you'll get 4 ways to find out what the overall trend is. This is our enhanced buy-sell line. A strength of trend tool. This is another way to exit, because this totally individual tool will tell you if there's still room left to the upside or to the downside of an extreme trend. We also provide on the platform only one-click auto-generated exit levels. So with one click, you'll see exactly where these exit levels are. You can pick and choose where you want to exit. But here's one more thing. This is just, by the way, the tip of the iceberg. There are literally dozens of things that you'll get for free on the platform that we don't have the time or amount of room on this slide to share with you. But here's what is the most important, obviously, is the signal scanner, because you're going to need the signal scanner to apply that three-step process. You can scan for multiple markets. You can rate your own basket list of stocks or whatever you trade, and you can scan on a nightly basis. All right, so let's break down this big move special offer, okay? Now, the PTSXT has just blown up in popularity because it's such a great tool and because it's so simple. The regular price is close to $5,000, okay? Here's what we're going to do. We realize that's far too much, especially some people are having difficulty in the markets. So we're going to discount this tremendously, but for a limited time, we're going to discount it to only a one-time payment of $497. That's like roughly 10% of the original cost. It's a one-time payment, and then it's established a monthly payment of $97 per month. That's it. Now, you can still pay in full if you like. If you like to pay in full, you'll get a 10% discount of roughly $500. It'll bring the price down to $44.95, and you just pay in full. But either way you decide to go, you're still going to get a full year free of the platform. Now, I know we already have some students who have taken other courses, and they say, Steve, I really want to take the PTSXT, but I already have the platform. Well, Pro Trader Strategies is very flexible. They'd be willing to work with you and offer you something else of comparable value. So don't worry, they're not going to leave you hanging out dry and saying, okay, well, you've already got the platform, that's too bad. They'll really help you along because they want you to be a member of the PTSXT course. Remember, you're going to need the PTSXT in order to have that one-click access to see where the yellow block is and also to run that scan. Now, if you're still having difficulty deciding, or you're thinking, well, sure, how powerful is this? Well, let me just share with you a slide really quickly here. I'm going to move over and look at this. If you can all see this now, this is a live chart of HIMS, H-I-M-S, okay? This is on our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform. Now, someone, once again, looking back at this would say, gosh, this is the type of stock that I always fail in missing. I miss these big moves. This stock is literally taken off. Let me show you how you could have used the PTSXT. Now, we're not going to go through the whole scanning process, but we'll just show you. Once again, you click this on, and now I'll click on where the signals are or not, if there was a signal at all. And if we click it on, guess what? We had a signal all the way back here, January 21st. Here was the first bar, okay, that was in the yellow block. You could have scanned on the night of the 17th, or actually on the night of the 21st, I should say, because this is the closing of the 21st, and seen that. The next day, if you did not buy on the close, you could have bought on the close the next one, or you could have placed a lower limit because it came lower. And for basically a week, nothing happened. But look what has happened in 3 to nearly 4 weeks. The stock has gone straight up from roughly in the 30 price level to over 100%. Think of that. You could have had a potential price gain in the stock of over 100% in a little over 3 weeks. Now, this was all done without having to look at any fundamental information. You didn't have to calculate which direction the company was going. You didn't have to figure out what's going on economically in the world. You didn't have to listen to some guy on TV. All you had to do was click it on the way I just showed you and said, okay, here's the first bar. I think I'll buy here. And we would have showed you different ways to place your stop. If you like to track the trade, we could have showed you different ways in which to do that. If you like to re-enter, we could have showed you different ways how to re-enter here. If you want to stay in even longer, we could show you ways in which you're still long this stock. Over 100% in just a little over 3 weeks. That's how powerful and simple it is to apply the PTSXT. So this is a live chart right here on our platform that shows you just how easy it is, okay? Okay, take your trading to the next level. We just shared with you a ton of examples. The original PTSXT Extreme Trend Indicator will really do that for you. I really think it'll take your trading to the next level, and it can kick you in the right direction to start off 2025 going forward, okay? Here's how to take advantage of that great discount. Remember, we're going down from nearly $5,000 just to a one-time payment of $497, and then establish a monthly payment plan of less than $100 per month. The best way to do that is to contact my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies. I would highly recommend giving them a call at area code 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants answering the phones right now, that we'd be more than happy to take your order over the phone or answer any question you may have about data, about, maybe you already have the platform, you'd like something else in exchange, or just any other question you can think of about maybe using the PTSXT. Now, this link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page as well as the sign up page. It's not a live link, but a live link has just been posted on the chat box. If you go to that little icon that says chat there, just click that on and you'll see a live link there. You can click that on and it will automatically open up the info page on your browser. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave this information up here. If you have any questions, please go to your chat box, just click it on and write a question, or the question and answer box, which either one, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Someone saying, is there only one exit method? No, we have multiple exit methods. As I stated, one of them is just one click away on the platform that you'll get automatically free. And it's a specific exit level that will give you different levels for each you to choose where you want to get out. So that's just one of them. We have upwards of 6 or 7 ways to exit. So this is not something where it's subjective. Now you can go off feel if you'd like to. If you say, you know what, I've got a nice profit, I just feel like getting out, I don't want to tie my money up over the weekend. Well, sure, you're always free to do that. The important thing is that you're making your decision, not me, or not some bot or some systematic behavior. You're making the decision. So that's what we encourage, and that's what we want you all to take advantage of. Let's see. Does the PTSXT work with the PET-D? There are ways in which to apply it. There are certain ways in which you can. The way I have found out where it works well with the PET-D is ways which to re-enter into the trade. So that's one way. For those of you who are not familiar, the PET-D is a totally different indicator that has a total different designation. But sometimes you can combine these two together and help you with your signals and setups. What I have found is when I combine that with the PET-D, the PTS-60 with the PET-D, it helps me with re-entering. So that's a totally different way in which to calculate it, okay? Let's see, does the strategy perform well in different market conditions? Yes, because you see, its only purpose is to provide you with these high probability, really big moves. That's it. And in advance, as you just saw, usually you got in on that first bar before it even looked like it was taking off either direction. Whereas if it's a sideways market where it's kind of whipsaw, most likely you won't see any signals there. So it'll keep you out of those whipsaw markets where we know everyone loses money, where you buy, it goes down, you sell, it goes back up. Well, because this is so sensitive, because it's only looking to identify extreme moves, well, it won't identify many times any moves within that sideways market, okay? So yeah, it's going to perform really well in different market conditions. Good questions. Any other questions? This is something I use. It's a great, in fact, this is one of my favorite tools to use because it's so simple. It's really easy. There's not a lot of, thinking and going into it saying, okay, now what do I do now? It's just as basic as following that 3-step process. That's really all you have to do. Now, this is just one of the ways to trade it, but this is, in all intents and purposes, this is the way I like to trade it. Let me see here. Another question. Let me see. What about any of the numbered strategies, stay like strategy number 7? There has been some research done on this. I know we have some people that in our offices that have been experimenting with that. But remember, it makes no difference. You can apply any strategy with it, any technique, and it'll have that extra oomph, that extra power, because you are going in sync with an extreme move. So if you want to really be involved in extreme moves, you can apply any method, any technique, and you will have that added consistency to it, okay? That's how great this is. Remember, this is not an actual system. This is not a trading strategy. This is an indicator. So you can apply a strategy, any strategy you like, as long as you are seeing these either yellow up move blocks or red down move blocks being displayed. It will give you that higher level of consistency, okay? Okay, if there are no further questions, this will bring us to the end of the presentation. I really hope you got a lot of information as to how most especially we want to increase your odds for consistency, but really how we want to teach you to become a consistent trader, because we know that most people spend tons of money, thousands of dollars on these convoluted indicators or on these highfalutin strategies that are supposed to promise the world, and most likely they haven't, right? And you've lost a lot of money. Don't worry. I was there with you nearly 5 decades ago. I was doing the same thing, wasting my money on systems, on strategies that I had no idea what they were supposed to do, and I just couldn't make ends meet. It wasn't until I really simplified my trading, like the PTSXT, that I started to become consistent. So jump on board, take advantage of this great offer. Give Pro Trader Strategies a call at area code 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones now. They'll be happy to take your order or just answer any question that you may have. As we take one last look at our disclaimer, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your Wednesday to come watch this short educational video. I hope you learned something, but most especially, as I always say, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the PTSXT course class. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I hope to see you in class. Bye-bye.